Thank you for listening and watching today's show. We aren't here to tell you what to think, but to inspire and empower you to do your own thinking for better life results. We are being shadow banned, censored, canceled, and deleted simply for sharing our message. Go to contacttammy.com and always stay connected with us. At contacttammy.com, sign up for our latest report on health, freedom, and organic lifestyle. Text the word health to 833-838-1020 and get free access to our community and a chance to win free merchandise and products. Send me a quick message and become a supporter. There are many options available, and you will have a direct impact on keeping independent media healthy and growing. Go to contacttammy.com and let's stay connected. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Naturally Inspired Daily. If you have not yet joined us over on livenaturallyinspired.com, we'd love to have you there. You can actually join right now for free just by entering the promo code Tammy. That's TAMMY over at livenaturallyinspired.com. We are here to help people feel good so they can do what they love for longer. So let's get started and talk about today's Health Watch tip. Today, I'm talking about gardening. Maybe you've heard a lot of it about gardening lately in the news and especially with all this focus on food shortages and stuff. It's not just about food, though. I want to point that out. Gardening is really kind of a magical experience. If you haven't done it before, I highly recommend doing it. It is more than just growing your own food. There's just something about it that connects us to the earth. It just the ritual of watering and taking care of something. It really is a fulfilling thing. And if you haven't experienced it, I highly recommend starting with something small. Let's take a look at this article from the Almanac. It has some great tips at getting started with a vegetable gardening for beginners. The best thing I can recommend, I've been gardening for years. My mom was an avid gardener, and I grew up with gardens all the time. And so I don't remember not having a garden, but for those of you that haven't done it, this is a great little guide for beginners. The one thing I recommend highly is start small. Do not overwhelm yourself, because it can be a little overwhelming when it comes to taking care of a garden with watering and weeding and all of that. So here's a good little guide for you to look at some key points when starting a garden. Of course, you want to pick a sunny spot. It needs 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. Your water content is very important. You want to make sure your soil drains or your pots are draining. I've made that mistake in the past. Some of these fancy pots are really pretty, but they don't have the drainage, and they can cause the soil to become moldy or just not getting, the drainage it needs so that the plant can grow to its best capability. So you always want to make sure, if you're doing it in the ground, it's a good spot for drainage. If you're doing it in planters, that those planters have drainage built into them. You want to offer it a little bit of protection, not something way out in the wind. You want to make sure that your soil is fertile. There's nothing more disappointing than putting a seed in the ground and nothing happening, right? It is the part of the magic is watching that seed sprout. So don't go to all the work if you haven't taken a look at your soil to make sure that you've got the right stuff. You can always top it up with even bags of soil, amend it, right? It doesn't have to be this giant project where you have to have soil trucked in. Start small. That is my biggest recommendation. If you have never done it, maybe even start with a few planters on your deck. I've even seen windowsill gardens, just starting them in your kitchen. Just start with something because it will build from there. And your eagerness to learn will build. Pretty soon you'll start to find yourself watching YouTube videos about gardening. It's kind of contagious in that way. Here's a few vegetables that you can grow easily: lettuce, green beans, radish, tomatoes. Tomato plants are great in pots. Zucchinis, you need some ground for those because they'll spread out. Peppers you can do in pots. Beets need to go in the ground. Carrots need to go in the ground. Shards, spinach or kale, also in the ground, and peas. One tip I can say is don't plant stuff you don't eat. That is something we tend to learn the hard way, but we can tend to get attracted to some, things because we see the seed in the store or whatever. But if you're not eating that vegetable right now, chances are you're not going to eat it when it grows out of the ground. I mean, it's good to try new things, but you want to focus on things that you actually already eat. Be realistic about how many vegetables your family will eat or that you will eat. So don't overplant or underplant. Consider the availability of the vegetables at your grocery store, right? So what you're buying at the grocery store, but also what may not be available in the future or may go up in price in the future. These are some things you want to consider right now. If it's imported to your area, then that's going to cost more in the future. So that might be something that you want to grow yourself. Make sure you're prepared to take care of this garden, right? So it's going to be part of your routine. And it's really a give and take type of relationship when you tend to a garden. You work the earth and you benefit and reap the harvest. And I can't really put that into words. It's something that people really have to experience themselves. It's a very fulfilling experience. So if you haven't started a garden, this is the year. Unfortunately, some platforms censor the information in this show. Watch the rest of this episode by going to naturallyinspireddaily.com. Find amazing interviews with people like David Icke, Max Egan, frontline doctors, and more at naturallyinspiredpodcast.com. Connect with me directly at tammycuthbertgarcia.com. Support our amazing team. Help us defeat censorship and become a subscriber for only $5 a month at livenaturallyinspired.com. Find me on all social media platforms at connectwithtammy.com.